All right, good morning or good afternoon, depending on when you see this. So my name's Oliver Dolan,
And I'm Cass Sandys.
and so we're just presenting our senior project. So at the start of this project, some of the goals we wanted to do was just do different types of videos and improve, from my perspective, improve like skills in the editing field as well as the producing field. To try and make as high quality videos as possible and make a different variety of films as well. And what was your goals?
And my goal during this senior project was I was hoping to achieve new perspective on what to film and how to do it.
Yes. So, week one, the first 2 days, we decided to just get the research part out of the way. So we found this really interesting site, and it talked all about pre-production and stuff like that. So Cass and I split up the research. So just to summarize some bullets that I had, I learned about the pre-production phase, how that sometimes they'll have a cinematographer, a screenwriter, a director, where they have a lot of different entities and people working together, and they often disagree on the direction that the film is going to take, which sometimes hinders the pre-production. Also learn about the aspect ratio formats and different. There's some exceptions, obviously, like the Blair Witch Project. The whole point of that was to make it like a grainy film because they wanted to make it more realistic and more like look like a home camera. So because that was a horror film. So that way they didn't want like a super 4K ultra like camera. They wanted something a little like lower, like a homemade camera. And then yeah, learned about proper lighting as well. So some directors will use natural light. So if it's a day scene, they'll just film it outside in the day, and if it's a night scene, they'll wait at night. Others like to just film whenever and use CGI to affect the darkness or lightness outside. I know as well that the rain very much is, if it's raining in a scene, they'll just get, that's not real. They'll get like showers to go. It's a whole complicated thing, but they have fake rain on set. They rarely ever do it real. And then you can just outline what you did as well.
Yeah, so building off of what Oliver said before, there are several different entities when it comes to any film production at all. There's the sound crew, there's the editing crew, there's the light production crew, there's the actual directors and the producers. I was focused more on what the sound design people were doing along with the lighting crew. Yeah, there's aesthetic lighting, then there's natural lighting, and then with the sound crew, it's a real effort to properly place mics so that you can hear what the main characters are talking about, but it's also an effort to make sure that you don't see the mics. And sometimes they differentiate between putting a mic just above where the scene is being filmed, right at a shot, or sometimes they'll put tiny microphones like underneath the actors or the actresses' shirts, and then it picks up what they're saying there without having to worry about a boom mic on top of it. There's actually been plenty of jokes talking about that. Yeah, and which is why all the more interesting why when there's an actual film that comes out, it's something to really behold, because you know that it was a real process to having to communicate with several different people, all from a different background, and then they all work together to a common goal, common objective, and then the final product was made. So that's something that I also read from the article.
Yeah, exactly. So then day two was also, again, more of that research, some of what Cass and I talked upon. And then the next day, we started our actual video. We didn't really have a plot, but Cass had the idea when he was researching that the cameras, they definitely have, sometimes they have different cameras running at once, or they have like several cuts. So we just did a bunch of cuts from different angles of me walking, doing ordinary stuff, which ended up looking really good. And we still didn't really have a direction, but we had a really good start of high production. So yeah, then the next day was the editing part, where we tried to get it together, put the footage together, cut it together. So It was pretty like tight. It wasn't any like extra unneeded footage. And then the day after that, on 21st, this was a Friday, Cass and I were brainstorming about how to finish this video because we didn't really have a direction yet. We had some ideas, but we had liked what we had to begin with, so we just figured out how to end it. And then, let's see here. So yeah, just to recap the week, the first 2 days were spent researching, and then the next day was spent filming, and then the other 2 days were spent editing and just trying to work together to figure out how to end it. Yeah, I'll keep going. So today, and then next week 2 on Monday, I met up with Cass to finish our video, and also we had hoped to try to brainstorm a second video. Our first video, which we'll link, it ended up being, we wanted to try to go, you can kind of elaborate what the first video was about.
Yeah, so essentially, and we had no idea on what the first video was going to be. We just kind of went head first and figured it out as we were piecing it together. Ultimately, the first film, the genre of the first film that we made was kind of leaning towards suspenseful. We called it horror originally, but then we realized, well, it's not really that scary enough, and it wasn't like the whole film. It's 4 minutes long. The first 2 minutes, you don't know what's going on. Then the next 2 minutes, that's when the more cerebral stuff happens. But as a whole, it's not really terrifying, but it's definitely suspenseful, maybe thriller, but there's no action at all really. But it was actually what I did when I didn't meet up with Oliver one day is I actually added some more video clips by myself, because we did most of the recording at my house, and then what I ended up doing was, there's a scene where Oliver is in the basement and then he picks up the milk that's sitting in the fridge. What I decided to add to it was when he's in the basement, you can see him in third person, but then also, back to back, you could see his perspective in first person as he's walking towards the fridge, and then when he pulls the milk out of the refrigerator, and then when he sits in the chair, and then he puts the hat on top of his head. I added all that stuff. That was pure inspiration there. I decided to go along with it. I didn't even tell Oliver about it. I decided to surprise him with it, and ultimately, I think me and him we were both impressed with our final product. Again, it was an amateur film, but I think it had promise to it.
Yeah, so that's pretty much sums it up perfectly. So then the day after that, the 25th, we uploaded the video, so we can just give a rundown of some pros and cons. So given the lack of, like as we said before, there's many different entities working on these films. Cass and I are 2 people, so taking that into account, I think we did a really good job, because we don't really have like any outside actors. We have to have somebody film and somebody be the star or whatever, be on the camera. So we're limited in who we can bring in. And so given the limitations, I think we'd made a really good film. And so that was a really positive start. Yeah, and it was really clever of Cass to come up with that first person, shooting in first person at the end. That was something he added in post-production, and it made the film successful, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, the 5 on the 26th, we critiqued the video. That's pretty much what we said. We really liked the direction, the cuts, and we're trying to make it more, I don't know, as professional as we could. And so then we also were brainstorming our second video. Now, this was not, this week was kind of challenging for me because we were kind of busy. I had a Memorial Day tournament in Massachusetts, so Thursday we couldn't meet up, so we were just continuing to brainstorm because we didn't have a solid idea yet.
If I can add something very, very quickly, I also took the time to watch an award-winning short film that was a horror film. It's 19 minutes long. I linked it into my journal. I know while Oliver was gone, though, we couldn't meet up, but I also know that we were watching different types of videos. and this is discussed more next week. But while we were gone, I took it upon myself, and I think Oliver did the same thing too. I was watching different types of videos. I was watching commentary videos. I was watching something from a podcast, and that's something that ultimately we end up doing in this senior project. That's something that we could do maybe after senior project and after we graduate. But again, it's good to expand upon our horizons and such, and that's something that, you know, it's healthy to do, and it's something that we want to do. So anyway.
Yeah, adding to what Cass said, when we were brainstorming how to end our horror movie, we did watch what was it, Inglorious Bastards.
Yeah.
We watched the intro to that one because that one's really suspenseful. What else? We watched the Clint Eastwood. What was that called?
Yeah, we watched a spaghetti western, a clip from a spaghetti western film called Once Upon a Time in the West, and it was a villain introduction. It was a chilling scene. We thought maybe we could incorporate some elements from that.
Yeah, so we were just trying to more like how do these movies use sound to their advantage? How do they induce horror and like panic? And we wanted to try and implicate that, which I think we did do with our first video. We're adding in the sound effects, the music, and making it black and white. I think that helped out our project. But yeah, so I was in Massachusetts for my soccer tournament, and so I was just kind of brainstorming in Massachusetts, but I was mostly preoccupied there. So yeah, the reflection on week 2 was really productive. We were able to finish our first video and start to plan our second video, and then we were able to critique it. And then yeah, so then week 3, Monday, that was the last day of my soccer tournament, so I was there, and I didn't get home till like, I don't know, late, so we couldn't get any work done there. We were just looking at stuff, just trying to brainstorm pretty much. And then the next day, I did some research because I wanted to do some of the academic components. So I wanted to research what genres are the most successful in film. So I looked up the top selling movies in 2020 in the United States. So they go, Bad Boys for Life was number 1, and that's an action and comedy. Sonic the Hedgehog, which was family and comedy. Birds of Prey was action and superhero. Doolittle was family and adventure. The Invisible Man was horror and thriller. The Call of the Wild was adventure and family. And Onward was family and comedy. Tenant was action and thriller. And The Gentleman was crime and comedy. The Croods, A New Age was family and comedy. I also did the same for top 10 in 2021. I don't really need to read those out because you can see in my project. But yeah, and then I did a breakdown of the popularity in genres in 2020 and 2021. So action and adventure was at the top, and then I have the whole list on my senior project. I don't really need to read it out, but yeah. And then on the second, Cass and I met up finally, and we were able to film a skit. We tried to experiment with a YouTube type of video, so this is like incorporated more cuts, less editing of the video, so making it seem like real. Like part of the appeal of YouTube vlogs is the fact that they don't really cut stuff out. They leave it real. They don't have people just filming. So we wanted to do that style of video, which is a contrast from just having one camera following me around. In the first horror film, we were actively like engaging in the video, like we knew we were being filmed, because when YouTubers do vlogs and stuff, they know they're filming themselves, and so addressing their audience likewise. So yeah, and then the day after that, I think Cass was editing the video, putting it together, and then I had my friend over to come film a workout video, because this is another type of video that I've been wanting to do, just a workout video that's utilizing a lot of transitions and some music. So that went well. And then on Friday, so Cass and I were Cass was editing his video and I was editing this workout video. So I can talk about the workout video and then you can talk about what you did. So I figured as soon as I figured out the song, I tried to sync it up, and I put transitions in every single clip because that's what highlight videos tend to have. I also watched some like people lifting. They have like lifting videos because we did like lifting. So I tried to kind of mirror that a little bit. So I tried to incorporate all these aspects that I could have watched like maybe 3 workout videos and just tried to incorporate like background music, different cuts, and have it zoomed in. And then I hadn't finished the video, but I had a really good rough draft that I liked. And then you can talk about the other video, the YouTube type video skit.
Yeah. So essentially what our goal was for this video, and might I mention, similar to the first video, we just kind of went into it and we really just pieced it along, except the difference with this one is we kind of knew what the genre was going to be about. But the filming style was going to be from like a perspective of a person where or like how vloggers record themselves constantly, and like anything that happens to them is like spontaneous and stuff. That was kind of like our vision of what we had with the second video in mind. We also decided to do a twist with the second video with which every video that we have filmed so far during the senior project and mostly beforehand, the main star has always been Oliver, except we decided to make it about me this time instead because I'm normally the one who does all the editing, so we decided to flip that on its head. What I ended up doing though ultimately is I decided to do some voiceover because that's what some vloggers or just some people who make videos on YouTube do, is they'll like freeze frame for like a moment and talk about that moment, and then they'll do a voiceover on it. So I decided to do that along with adding some video game footage to it because that's something that some gameplay YouTubers do, is like they'll talk about certain events happening in their life or some YouTube drama, and then all the while they're playing like a game of Roblox or CSGO. Both are video games. So we decided to incorporate that into our video, and the whole thing was a satire-based skit. So it was definitely a humorous one, but it was also different in the sense that all the videos beforehand, it was kind of planned out. This whole thing was improv in a way where, again, we knew what we were doing, but we also didn't really know how we were gonna do it. So it was sincere.
And that's kind of how vlogs are on YouTube as well, where the guy will just start talking and then his buddy or something will maybe like make a joke or something, or they'll just like be in different situations. As Cass said, spontaneous. So yeah, and then Friday we were weekly reflection. It was a little frustrating in the beginning of the week because I was just gone in Massachusetts for 3 days, or actually 4 days because I had to leave on Friday. So we couldn't get anything really done. But we were able to make up for it because we filmed on Wednesday and Thursday. So we just I just learned to be patient, and we were able to exceed expectations and make up for lost time. And then Cass and I had an idea to do, because in video production they have us do PSAs. So we had a PSA kind of for cyberbullying. We just filmed it's at like 30 seconds or something, because that's typically the range that Miss Naeem wanted us to have our videos for PSAs. So we filmed that, and we thought that turned out pretty well, because we incorporated different point of view shots, different angle shots. We had Cass playing the video game, so we had just a video of Cass playing, and then we had just a video of the TV screen, so you could see from Cass's perspective almost. Yeah, so overall, I thought it was a very successful project. I was a little sad to see it end because we had a couple more ideas that maybe if we had more people, it would have been easier. Like, for example, a short film would have been easier with, like, say, maybe two or three more people so we could have different characters in it. We were also contemplating doing a podcast, but that's difficult with to figure out location wise and just topic wise. But if we had more time, we could probably try something like that out. So we just resorted to kind of skits with the production crew that we have of just two people. The easiest thing to do is just skits, and yeah, vlogs, kind of stuff that's low, that doesn't require like lighting, sound, like different people. But yeah, you can recap what you thought as well?
I thought the senior project was ultimately a successful one. I think me and Oliver have definitely learned something doing this senior project. I mean, we knew about this beforehand, or just like what filming is and how to do it. But just with the whole dipping our toes into the territories that we haven't been before, such as with the genres or with the camera angles, or like what makes a film a film. I definitely think that we've learned a lot in that regard. And I know that Oliver has said to me, and he has no problem with me saying this, like he's definitely wanting to pursue this in college. Me, I think I could also, that's something that I could also do. So with that in mind, I think this has been a good foundation for both of us on the college career choice, on what we want to do with like filming and whatnot. So ultimately, again, successful, and I definitely think we've learned a lot out of this.
All right, so yeah, this is our presentation. Hopefully you guys enjoy it.
Go Nets!
Yeah, go Nets.